Hey, so today it's a video on core beliefs. And what are core beliefs? What are they? Core beliefs are beliefs we have formed that are based on our social conditioning, our environment, and our experiences. So a lot of times people with BPD and people with other traumatic childhood experiences that resulted in developmental trauma, often they have these limiting beliefs. And I'll put a list of common beliefs in the link in the description down below, so you can check those out. And these are pretty common to people who have these difficulties with emotional and mental regulation of their past and their traumas. So yeah, so one thing that's really difficult, that can be difficult for people, is that beliefs are not really conscious all the time. So they may be subconscious, they may be like in your unconscious. So to be able to realize and figure out, first you need to identify what those beliefs are. So you can think back in time to just like your past experiences. Think back in time, just like take some time out when you were free and not disturbed and not stressed out, and just try to think back about when you go back and you sort of objectively, if you go back in time, and if you think that all the things that happened to you, there's an observer and you're the observer, you're the third person who's watching that. There's just this story going on of another person. What would you identify as what is going on with this person? Can you tell what they're thinking, what they're feeling, which is limiting them? So yeah, so those beliefs often come up, and they are really they don't really change unless life circumstances and stuff can make them change. So for me, when I have stressors or bad life events, for instance, I found out today my cat is really sick, so that makes all the self-care go out the window. And it also makes all the beliefs that are limiting come back, and the inner critic come back with a full bang. So yeah, so identify what those are, and let's figure out how to deal with them in the next video. So people who have suffered trauma often have felt not accepted or not heard or ignored, or the parts of themselves that have not been accepted or acknowledged often become traumatized, and people start to hide them, and then that becomes their shadow self. So toxic loneliness is very common in these people. So what is really working for me right now is basically I'm telling myself that I'm not alone. And whenever I have a feeling, like yesterday I had this feeling that I want to impress my friend, or I'm getting just disoriented by the things he's saying, so I just sort of realize that this is my feeling. This is a feeling of fear and isolation, and I ask the feeling, what do you need right now? And because I have so much toxic loneliness in myself, the feeling was I just wanted not be alone. So I was I'm here for you, and that really worked for me, and I kept doing that multiple times. I think that's really helpful, because the abandoned parts of ourselves, the dissociate parts of ourselves, often we need to work with those rather than just trying to ignore them or suppress them as we have done our entire lives. So that was one thing that really worked for me.